naked, to take control so I could submit, let go, give over. God, yes. And by him I meant 2 guys because one wasn't enough for me. I needed the extra helping of dominance, the constant potency my high-revving libido needed. I wasn't neglected, my vibrator saw to that. Or abandoned on the side of the road like the furry guy eyeing me. I was back in my hometown, had a new job. My mom was nearby and I had plenty of batteries for the well-used sex toy. There was nothing to complain about. But while I wasn't alone, make that my pussy, was definitely a little lonely. Dick would be nice. Double dick, preferably, because I had a lot to offer. I had a feeling I was too much for just one guy because I had a lot to offer. Mama called me big-boned. I considered myself more Amazon than anything. At just under 6 foot, I towered over most guys in town. And those big bones... Yeah, on top of them I had muscles and a fair amount of padding. Big boobs, big butt. Not too many men were interested in all that I came with. I had boyfriends. I was far from a virgin. But it had been a while. I was discriminate and was definitely picky when it came to who I got in my bed, or pressed me up against the wall. Then there was the fact that I was the sheriff of Rains County, and that came with a utility belt, a set of handcuffs, and a uniform shirt that had me looking more man than woman. I wasn't the soft, timid type. I wasn't dainty, petite. Most men wanted to wear the pants in a relationship, and my job didn't call for skirts. Jeans, boots, and the uniform shirt. Even a utility belt with more gadgets than Batman. I sighed. The job picked me, and here I was. Rains, Montana, in a sheriff's SUV with a stray dog. I doubted I'd find one man, let alone 2, at least while I had the job. I made a mental note to add more batteries to my shopping list. I was going to need them. 10-4, I replied, putting the radio away and starting back toward town. Every day on the job was different. Paperwork, time in court, traffic stops. Hell, even a dog rescue. For being a small town, the job wasn't boring. So far, not too bad. Back in law school, I never would have imagined myself back in my hometown. Gone 10 years, back 2 months. I glanced in the rearview mirror and eyed the dog. I wanted to go and track down the fucker who'd abandoned him, but parked in front of the small vet office instead. I'm going inside for a leash, I told him as I glanced at him through the metal grate between the front and back. One ear pointed up as if he were listening carefully. No way am I chasing you all over town. I climbed out and went inside. A little bell above the door signaled my presence. There was no one at the counter, but a guy came down a long hallway. Not just any guy. Holy shit. Gus Duke. We dated, if 18-year-olds called it dating, right after high school graduation and most of that summer. First love, first everything. We'd been hot and heavy most of the time, especially when he'd popped my cherry in his pickup truck down a dusty side road late one night. I'd popped his too. It had been intense. The feelings, the desire we shared that one hot summer. God, I'd needed what Gus could give me, loved every minute of it, of that steamy summer. But as I grew older, I realized what we'd done wasn't enough for me. I was different, had unusual sexual desires. It was almost as if I were wired differently. Vanilla wasn't for me. Thinking back, I had to wonder if we'd had more time together, we might have done more than fuck like rabbits. Hot, hard, and heavy. Come August, we'd both gone off to college and never looked back. Oh, I'd thought about him often enough. The sex especially. We'd been horny teenagers, interested in getting off and not the nuances of how to do that. It had taken years for me to understand it was better when it pushed all the right hot buttons. I had to wonder if Gus would know how to push mine, or if he'd want to. Especially when I realized, even staring at his gorgeousness now, he wouldn't be enough. At 18, he'd been cute, hot, sexy even. But now he looked amazing. He'd always been tall. That was one of the things I'd liked about him, making me feel almost short.